Poštovani gledalci, dobar dan. Pratite specijalnu emisiju televizije Herc u kojoj je gost američki ambasador na Kosovu, gospodin Greg Delavijem. Your Excellency, thank you for your time for this interview. Today you visited in Strpce project supported by the US government through the USAID. Are you satisfied with the implementation and with what you saw today?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me today. It's a pleasure to be here in this really beautiful location. I really enjoy Strpce, so I'm happy to be here today. Today, so far, I've had a very good meeting with a couple of NGOs, one that's oriented towards women's issues and one that's oriented towards young people's issues. It was great to see such enthusiastic people who are interested in solving real problems. So, that was terrific. In a little while, I'm going to go see a farmer who is growing medicinal herbs for sales. What was very impressed when I drove into Strpce to drive by so many raspberry plants, and I've understood from talking with people here that Strpce citizens are finding a lot of employment and making a lot of money growing and selling raspberries here. So I'm very happy with what I've seen so far today, and it's really a privilege to be here.
How much money did the US government invest in Kosovo from 1999 to date, and how much of that was invested for Serbian community?
Since 1999, we have invested about 1.8 billion US dollars in Kosovo. We don't actually track it by ethnic group, so I can't divide it up for you that way. But we are committed to doing our best to help improve factors here for all of Kosovo's citizens of whatever ethnicity, whether they're Albanians or Serbs or non-Serb minorities. We have projects that work with all of these groups in various cities and municipalities across Kosovo.
You have said recently that Kosovo is at a big turning point and that positive change is expected or bigger and bigger stagnation. Which one is more likely, more precisely, in what direction will Kosovo go farther and from what will that depend?
Kosovo is at a turning point because of all the changes that are going on in the world, the changes going on in Europe. People are distracted by different things. And the world is not going to stand by and wait for Kosovo to figure itself out. The world is moving and Kosovo needs to move too. It's at a turning point because I think it has an opportunity now that it may not have in the future to make the decisions that will put it firmly on a European path. So it becomes a European country like any other, and the Kosovo citizens of whatever group they come from can enjoy the benefits of living in a European nation. There is a risk that Kosovo does not make these right decisions at that point, and that's why I've been emphasizing the turning point. It's very important for all of Kosovo's citizens, the politicians that have been elected in the last month, to make the right decisions so that Kosovo can advance, that its citizens can enjoy the full benefits of the democracy the Constitution gives them, and that the citizens can take advantage of economic growth to improve their livelihoods.
You mentioned the policy. What should be the three main priorities of the future government of Kosovo and why?
Okay. Well, my main priorities for myself are that we've been working on since I've been here are rule of law, economic development, and regional security. Rule of law, I think it's clear that there are serious challenges. There's a corruption challenge, there's backlogs in the courts challenges. All of these things make it harder for Kosovo citizens to achieve their goals. Economic development, the unemployment rate in Kosovo is around 30%. Among youth, it's around 60%. These are very, very high numbers. They're very discouraging to a lot of people. Kosovo, of course, has many, many talented citizens that want to work, that want to make a contribution, and we have to help improve economic prospects for all of them. Regional security, there are many important issues here. Kosovo has to do a better job of building better, stronger relationships with all of its neighbors, has to deal with the border with Montenegro issue, has to improve its relationship with Serbia, has to implement promises that it's already made, such as the creation of this Association of Serb Majority Municipalities.
How do you assess Pristina institution relationship so far between towards Serbs in Kosovo?
I think there's been a tremendous amount of progress over the last several years, and I see integration that probably people didn't expect five years ago. That's just happening routinely now. The Serb majority municipalities are working with the central government on things like budgets. Very important for any municipality to follow the rules on budget so it gets funding to pay for infrastructure and other things. I think we've seen the Kosovo police are far more integrated than anyone would have expected. And then we see the Kosovo security force is much more integrated, and more Kosovo Serbs and other minorities are joining up to the KSF. So I think things are going well, things are making progress. Of course, there is a lot more progress that has to be made, and I hope that the politicians that were elected last month are going to commit themselves to working for the benefit of their constituents to help make this progress possible.
It's obvious that Serbs from Kosovo are turning more towards Belgrade, which was also showed by the latest election results, where the Belgrade backlist won among the Serbs. What do you think? Why is that so?
You know, I don't want to try to analyze why people voted in a certain way, but I do want to say that all of the people that were elected in June, whether they're Kosovo Serbs, Kosovo Albanians, other minorities, they, I believe, need to focus on serving their constituents, the people that live here, the people that voted for them, the people that they will be living with and living among. I really think it's important for politicians to kind of step back from the mentality you see in too many countries where they're working for themselves. You know, they don't need to work for themselves, for their brother, for their political party, or some other factor. They need to work for the citizens of the state of Kosovo.
And what would be your advice to Serbs when it comes to the future government? What should they ask for in order to perhaps support the future government?
Well, there's kind of two sets of issues there. There are issues that are important for everybody who lives in Kosovo, and these are things like economic growth and corruption. So how do you make it more likely for people to want to invest their money here, whether they're foreigners or domestic people? You know, the investment climate has to be improved, because that's the only way we're going to create more jobs for all of these young people that are graduating from high school every year. Corruption affects everybody, and it's not just big corruption, it's little corruption too. It's very discouraging for people. It's discouraging when you can't get court cases resolved in a fair way. It's discouraging when you might have to pay extra money for a medical appointment that you're not supposed to have to pay. These are very discouraging issues for everybody, and really they've got to come to an end. Then secondly, there are issues that are of particular interest, I think, to the Kosovo Serb population, and things like the formation of the Association of Serb Majority Municipalities, which will make it easier for the Serb Majority Municipalities to coordinate on issues such as education, healthcare, things like that.
And at the end, who should form the future Kosovo government according to you? And is there someone who, for example, is not acceptable for you?
Well, the people that should form the next government are the people that the voters elected. The people the voters elected need to make that decision, not me, not the Quint, not any other foreigner. The citizens of Kosovo voted for parliamentarians. The election commission has now certified the results, so we know who those parliamentarians are going to be, and they have to work to identify a government that can achieve 61 votes in the assembly. It's not for me to say who should be in that government. It's not for any other foreigner to say who should be in that government. It's for the citizens of Kosovo through their elected representatives who need to say that. To the second part of your question, you know, we will work with any government that emerges from, according to the rules and the laws of Kosovo's constitution, Kosovo's laws, any government that's kind of willing to try to make progress on the key issues that are facing Kosovo today. And these are the ones I mentioned earlier: the rule of law, the economic development, the regional security issues. We are eager to work with politicians, with the government that will work to solve the problems that are facing Kosovo citizens today.
Okay, that was the last question for this interview. Your Excellency, thank you for being guest of RTV Herc.
It's a pleasure. It's great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Poštovani gledalci, pratili ste specijalnu emisiju televizije Herc u kojoj je gost bio ambasador Sjedinjenih Američkih Država na Kosovu, gospodin Delavijem. Hvala vam na pažnji i prijatan dan.